We're gonna vote on Game of the Year, and I'm sure by now you know what I'm picking.
Yo, it's the Grown Kid Talk Show. Yo, it's the Grown Kid Talk Show. Yo, Grown Kid Talk Show. Yo, it's the Grown Kid Talk Show.
Alright, I'm super excited about this. The Video Game Awards are back, and if you didn't know, here's a little bit of last year's Video Game Awards show.
Hey, I'm Jeff Keighley, and welcome to the nominee announcement.
Alright, so now that you're familiar, now this is our award show. We all need to get on board. If you haven't been already, it was a great show. I stand by this, and I've said this a couple other times. We need shows like this, once a year, like our Emmys, our Grammys, the BET Awards, the Country Music Awards. Every genre, for an art medium, music. Obviously, there's so many subcategories, and of course in gaming, there are so many sites and things that give praises to games, obviously, but we do need that one penultimate voting thing. So this year I happened to go to the Game Awards because it is December, and I want to start, I wanted to vote this year. I went to the site and I saw the vote, so I'm going to do it this year. I didn't vote last year. I've never really voted for the Video Game Awards, but do go vote for your local politicians and the president, obviously, if you're in the United States. But if you're outside in a different country and you have some sort of way to vote for something, do it. You'll feel better about your contribution to the society you live in, even if you feel like it doesn't make a difference. Anyway, Video Game Awards, I'm really excited about this. I've never voted. I don't know what to do here. I'm just going to click vote now. I thought I would take you with the process with me, and then maybe, inspire some of you all out there to vote. I'm obviously going to vote for the games that I think should win, and I hope it's really interesting this year. I think it is. It's not so much of a deadlock as last year, where it was really just Red Dead Redemption 2 and God of War that were the two titans that really had to battle it out. This year I think it's a lot more open, even though I do know my game of the year, and if you follow the channel you will too. But let's get into this. You know what, let's check out the rules, because I have, for some reason, I feel like if you've seen this from other YouTubers, they probably never looked at the rules. I'm a big rules guy. FAQ and rules. This FAQ is designed to answer many common questions about the Game Awards rules and voting process. Alright, so this is cool here. So let's see how this all goes really down. How are nominees selected for the Game Awards? Let's click on it. Nominees for most categories of the Game Awards are chosen by an international jury of over 80 global media and influencer outlets, selected for their history and critical evaluation of video games. The full list of outlets is available here. I won't go into the outlets, because I think we can name a few, like your GameSpots, your Games Radars, your Kotakus, your Game Informers. That's just to name a few. Your US Gamers. I'm sure over 80. We're not going to go through that. Each voting outlet completes a confidential, unranked ballot. So that's interesting, and I wonder if we really deep dive into this and see who is a voter to get them into the nominees. Do they then write an article on what they believe the game of the year is? Is that the way that their site kind of hints and tells us their vote? I'm not sure, or is it completely confidential information there? All right, so why do you use this jury so why use a jury? Well, juries is one of the best things you can do in a democracy. It is I don't know if I should flash the definition here, and it's important. I think every person should do some type of jury duty at least once in their life. It's you get judged by your peers, and it can go unfairly or fairly, but that is how the world kind of works, and more often than not the judgment is actually fair by a jury. I know it may seem unfair by the ones you might see televised on news, or what you might personally think. You might think different than a majority of people, and that's how this kind of goes. But a jury is very, very fair, as long as that jury itself, its members, are fair. Let me rephrase it. The idea of a jury is completely fair, as long as the jurors are good people. It always comes down to if you're a good person. Given the sheer number of games released each year, as well as the extended time required to fully evaluate products, a voting outlet approach allows for the widest possible critical assessment. Okay, a ballot submitted to the Game Awards represents the collective opinion of an entire outlet, not one individual's point of view. Cool. I can get with that. Who selects the winners? Winners are determined by a blended vote between the voting jury, 90%, and public fan voting, 10%. Okay, so this is interesting to know. This might deter you. Do I think the fans should get 10% of the vote? Not necessarily. The only problem is with digital voting. You can see how you could digitally vote for a game 10,000 times, and there'd be no way to really select that process. I know voting has been done electronically over time. However, this just seems way more less security focused in terms of like a presidential election or elected official. This could definitely get out of hand, especially with a lot of gamers. There's hacking scandals all the time, so giving us 10%, fine. I really just want to know if our 10% is weighted more in terms of the people who have 90%. Do they look at our vote and say, hey, we need to select this game? I would think it goes something like that. Fans can vote for their favorite games once every 24 hours on the GamesRadar.com and via Google search voting across all categories. Twitter, Discord categories. In China, fans can vote on the winners via Bilibili. Fan voting closes on Wednesday, December 11th. So get your votes in. Voting is going to close. I don't necessarily like the voting style of voting once every 24 hours with anything. I just want to vote once, so that's what we're going to do. I'm not going to come back on this tomorrow and vote again. I'm going to put my vote out there and have some fun with it. Why don't fans completely choose the winners? Creating a 100% fan vote presents several challenges. First, given that some games are exclusive to one platform, that's 100% true. A public vote puts single platform games at an inherent disadvantage over multi-platform titles. That is huge. In addition, it is important that winners cannot be socially engineered in any way. That was what I was talking about, socially engineered. We find that a blended vote is the much more credible and authentic way to select winners. I agree. However, a 90 to 10% split, do we wish the fans would get more? But if it gets to a point where you can see that the fans are really disappointed in a winner, and we don't really see how that game won, and we start calling out some BS like that's some corporate bullshit, as long as it doesn't get to that point, I'm okay with the 90-10 split. Is there any entry fee to submit a game? The Game Awards strongly believes that no game developer or publisher should have to pay to have a game considered for nomination. Awesome. Thus, there are no entry forms or fees required. All games are automatically eligible for nomination. There is no submission process. I love this. Too often, you'll in especially music awards, whatever billion-dollar publishers behind the artist, they'll get nominated even though they might just have one song and it was actually just shit. I love that all games are automatically eligible for nomination. That's dope. Are voting outlets given free or advanced copies of games for consideration? At the start of the awards season, okay, cool, game publishers and developers are provided with access to a list of outlets that will submit nomination ballots. While most of our voting outlets have access to games through the normal editorial process, publishers and developers are permitted to provide review copies or digital redemption codes. That makes sense. What is the cutoff date? Now, this is important. Games eligible for the Game Awards this year must be available for public consumption on or before November 15th. Titles that are released after this date will be eligible for the Game Awards ceremony in 2020. Similarly, games that were released in December 2018 are eligible for this year's awards. This was interesting. I thought Final Fantasy 15, it came out at the end of the award cycle, and I think they do this on purpose, definitely, to either avoid criticism, not just 15, to avoid criticism or gain the last recognition possible for your release date. But this is a good thing to keep in mind moving forward, that November 15th and December are the cutoff dates. So this is just good information to have as a gamer, How are games as a service titles being handled in the voting? Okay, this is interesting. The Game Awards recognizes that many games are ongoing services that develop over time with new content, features, and improvements. Of course, any MMO. Games released in previous years are eligible in all award categories, so long as the jury feels their inclusion is merited due to new content, improvements, or service updates. In addition, the best ongoing game category specifically recognizes titles that continue to provide value to customers. Okay, so they actually have a category for this. I don't want to see Fortnite win every year, even though I understand the player base. I get it. It's just not something that I want to reward. I really don't. I don't want to talk too specifically about this, but I don't want to reward games like Fortnite at all. I want to reward MMOs, Final Fantasy 14. I want to reward them because they had a killer summer. First of all, it was amazing, but that's me talking about a specific game as an ongoing service. Those lines are getting blurry. As if they can keep their little best ongoing game category, fine. I would love to see that category really get brought to prominence with some real titles, as long as it's not Fortnite for the foreseeable future, or I mean Apex. Let's see. I'm really hopeful about the Game Awards, and I hope you are too. Throw down what you think in the comments while we're still reading some of these rules and regulations. Are early access games eligible for the Game Awards? Yes, any game available for public consumption by the deadline is eligible for potential nomination. It's up to the jury to decide if a title warrants a nomination for creative and or technical excellence given in a given year. Okay, so I'm glad I'm talking about this with you, so I get to talk about my qualms or ideas we might come up with here. Yeah, the jury then gets to decide the creative and technical excellence of a game. This could be hard for a jury of just 80 to experience everything a year's in gaming has to offer and bring it to and include all their factors. So I don't envy their position. They have a hard job. I'd like to submit my game for consideration in the future. What is the process? There is no formal submission process for the Game Awards. Qualified developers and publishers can contact the Game Awards to receive the list of voting outlets, which is made available in late September every year. Now, this is interesting because really this question means what is the question should have been, what is a qualified developer? And they give you a list of qualified developers, because if I make a video game and I call the Game Awards, I want my game on the list, I'm not going to be qualified developer because I made a video game. That is something it's implied. It's not implied, actually. Let me say this: it is rather hidden in terms of what they make it seem you can do, and what is this. You have to get into the specifics. So if you are a game maker, make sure you would look into what is a qualified developer. That is the only way you get your game up for consideration, even though every game is up to be is able to be nominated. Just so you know. These show sponsors or advisory board members have an increased chance of winning or being nominated for an award. Again, I don't know if these are internet questions, but they keep talking about being nominated. No, there is no connection. The voting of nominees and winners is handled by a jury that is wholly unaware of who is sponsoring or participating in other elements of the program. So it's not just they try to limit the whole, I sponsor your show and I also make this game. Let's, win something. They try to keep it legit. Are game companies made aware of the nominees or winners in advance of the public? No, game developers and publishers, including the advisory board, find out the nominees and winners at the same time as the public. Awesome. Can I attend the Game Awards in person? Limited public tickets to the show, December 12th at Microsoft Theater in Los Angeles, are available for purchase. So if you want to go to the show, get a ticket. So now, this is the 80. This is the jury. All right, so let's get into the jury. I kind of had a aha moment a second ago. I'm probably gonna cut that, but this is the jury. So we got.
Yo, it's the Grown Kid Talk Show.